Vehicles versus Killstreaks, the heavy firepower showdown. One of the starkest differences between the two sides is how they deploy heavy firepower. Battlefield vehicles. The Battlefield side brings a full arsenal of player-controlled vehicles. Main battle tanks are heavily armored two-seater tanks with massive cannons. Tanks serve as a front-line sledgehammers, able to break enemy defensive lines with high explosive shells and absorb a ton of punishment. A tank's high explosive shell can annihilate groups of infantry in one blast, and AP rounds threaten any vehicles Warzone might use. Tanks also can pop smoke screens and use active protection systems to intercept incoming rockets for a short time, making them hard to kill quickly. However, they are slowly moving and can be flanked by infantry if not supported. Infantry fighting vehicles. These are 6-seat lighter tanks that carry autocannons, some anti-tank missiles, and transport infantry. They're more mobile and great for suppressing infantry with rapid fire cannons. IFVs can coordinate with troops to push objectives fast. Attack helicopters. Gunships such as the AH-64 Apache, equipped with rocket pods, anti-tank guided missiles, and turreted cannons. These provide devastating close air support, able to strike targets behind cover or on rooftops with ease. A skilled helicopter crew can decimate clusters of infantry or take out vehicles from a distance. They must keep moving, but they add a deadly third dimension to the battlefield. Jets. Battlefield jets are extremely fast, and in capable hands, they can deliver precision strikes. Attack jets can carry bombs or rockets to carpet bomb infantry and vehicles in strafing runs. Fighter jets would probably engage enemy air threats, but since Warzone has no aircraft equivalent, they'd likely use the occasional ground attack or to maintain air superiority by hunting Warzone drones and parachuting soldiers. Jets are hard to hit due to the speed and can cross the map in seconds, but require skill to be effective. Transport vehicles. Battlefield also has transport helicopters and lighter ground transports, useful for mobility but not heavily armed. Given 500 players, expect the Battlefield side to consistently ferry troops to the front, maintaining high tempo. Mobile anti-air vehicles. Battlefield often includes dedicated anti-air tanks. If present, these would be critical for shooting down Warzone UAVs, counter UAVs, drones, and especially to threaten any Warzone-controlled aerial killstreak. Primarily, the AA vehicles will ensure Battlefield owns the skies, denying easy parachute drops and destroying any loitering Warzone drones or streaks. Vehicle availability. In Battlefield games, vehicles usually have limited spawns. However, over 2 hours with 500 players, assume Battlefield can field multiply armor columns and their air sorters continually, especially if respawn waves keep bringing new vehicles. Engineers on the team will keep them running with repairs. Warzone vehicles and killstreaks. Warzone operators don't have drivable tanks or jets, but they have a mix of light vehicles and powerful kill streaks they call in. Ground vehicles. Warzone ground transport includes ATVs and SUVs, the LTV light armored truck, and the heavier MRAP style armored truck, which has lots of armor but no built-in weapons unless players mount the bat. These vehicles are useful for moving around and providing quick cover, but they are outgunned by Battlefield tanks. Warzone vehicles also consume fuel and can run out of gas, requiring refueling at gas stations, a logistical concern Battlefield vehicles typically do not have. Helicopters. Warzone has light, unarmed utility helicopters. These are basically transport helos that can carry squads for fast insertion. In Warzone 2, a heavy chopper was introduced, a big helicopter that could hover stably and was tough to shoot down. However, Warzone helicopters lack built-in weapons, so their role is mainly mobility or using passengers as gunners. They could be used for quick hit-and-run drops or to redeploy teams behind enemy lines, but they be very vulnerable to battlefield attack helicopters, jets, and AA vehicles. Boats. If there's water, Warzone has RHIB speedboats and an armored patrol boat with turrets. The armored boat actually can hit hard, but on most maps, water is limited. Battlefield also has attack boats typically, so any naval aspect would similarly favor Battlefield with more options. Killstreaks, precision airstrike. Warzone operators can call in a pair of jets to strafe a target location with bombs. A precision airstrike can take out a group of soldiers or damage a vehicle caught in the open, especially if combined with UAV to target clusters. It's a one-time ability, but multiple players could call multiple strikes if they have them. An airstrike hits fast and is hard to shoot down once triggered. However, its damage is not as massive as, say, a Battlefield jet dedicated bombing run. A precision strike drops a couple bombs and will kill infantry not undercover, but a full health tank might survive a near miss. Still, it's a great tool to soften up defensive line and force enemies out of cover. Killstreak, cluster strikes. This call is a volley of cluster mortar shells on a designated area. It covers a slightly wider area than a precision, but each individual blast is weaker. Cluster strikes are excellent for area denial. If battlefield troops are entrenched in a street or on a hill, a cluster strike will make them disperse or take cover, interrupting their firing. Like the precision, it can damage vehicles, but may need multiple direct hits to destroy a tank. These kill streaks can also be used reactively. If Warzone notice a battlefield tank column or mass of infantry, a quick call can rain explosives on top of them. Killstreak, UAV recon. Warzone players can launch a UAV drone that for 30 seconds reveals enemy positions as dots on a minimap within a certain radius. If 3 Warzone players coordinate and call UAVs together, it creates an advanced UAV, which shows real-time positions and directions of movement of all enemies for a full minute. UAVs are a huge force multiplier for Warzone side. Battlefield has nothing exactly equivalent. Their recon UAV ability is local and visual, not a full map sweep. If Warzone pops UAVs regularly, Battlefield soldiers would be constantly at risk of being spotted and pre-aimed by enemies. Battlefield's counter could be a counter UAV, and indeed, Warzone has a counter UAV streak which scrambles the enemy minimap in an area for 30 seconds. If Warzone deploys one, it might blank Battlefield's awareness or even mess with any minimap spotting they rely on. Killstreak, sentry gun, RCXD. Warzone can deploy a sentry gun at a location to cover a flank or hold a position. They can also deploy RCXD, which is a remote-controlled explosive car, essentially a rolling bomb that an operator can drive under a tank or into a cluster of infantry and detonate. These are more situational, but could net surprise kills on clustered battlefield troops or damage a vehicle's underside. Killstreak, Juggernaut armor. A rare but game-changing power-up a Warzone player can call in a care package containing a Juggernaut suit, which, when worn, gives the soldier massive armor and a minigun. Juggernauts in Warzone are extremely tough. In Modern Warfare 2019, they have about 1,250 health points, effectively 5 times what a normal plated player has. They don't take fall damage and can even perform a crushing ground slam. That's kinda crazy. The downside, Juggernauts are slow and big, making them obvious targets. In this war, if a few Warzone operators become Juggernauts, they turn into walking tanks, soaking up rockets and bullets that would kill normal troops. They can lay down heavy suppressive fire with a minigun, potentially pinning down battlefield infantry and even threatening light vehicles. Now let's talk about the miscellaneous. Warzone also has fun toys like the combat bow, cluster mines, a thrown device that deploys a field of mini mines, great for area denial or ambushes, especially if a battlefield squad rushes in unaware. Bomb drones, a small quadcopter with an attached C.E.A. that the operator flies into a target, effectively a mini smart bomb that can wipe a squad if they don't shoot it down in time. These can tilt a local engagement if used cleverly. Economy and availability. Warzone's kill streaks aren't free. Normally, players must find them in loot boxes or purchase them at buy stations using in-game cash. Fire sale, which temporarily makes purchases cheaper or free. With 500 players, Warzone side would likely organize to loot as much cash as possible from the environment. Warzone has contracts like scavenger hunts or high-value targets that give cash. As the battle goes on, they could have periods of calling multiple UAVs and strikes. But if Battlefield disrupts their cash flow or control of buy stations, this could limit Warzone's ability to spam streaks continuously. And what is the impact on this battle? This is a classic matchup of quality versus quantity and technology versus tactics. Battlefield's advantage: sheer firepower and durability. The Battlefield side tanks and aircraft present a huge advantage in open field and vehicle-to-vehicle engagements. A single main battle tank, properly used, can hold off dozens of infantry until they coordinate a response. The psychological impact of an enemy tank, rounds exploding and leveling buildings, cannot be overstated. Warzone players are not used to facing tanks head-on. The closest in Warzone would be an armored truck, which is far less lethal. Battlefield pilots in attack helos might rack up kill after kill if Warzone lacks immediate anti-air answers. Essentially, Battlefield brings heavier hardware that outranges and outguns anything on the Warzone side. For example, if Battlefield establishes a tank line on a vital hill, Warzone will have to expand significant resources, multiple rockets, airstrikes, or suicidal C.4 charges to break through. Meanwhile, the tanks can keep respawning with new crews, whereas Warzone's limited kill streaks might not replenish as quickly. Warzone's counterplay: asymmetric warfare. The Warzone team isn't defenseless. Their strategy would likely resemble guerrilla tactics. Killstreak strikes: use UAV intel to locate clumped enemies or identify where the tank is camping, then unleash precision or cluster strikes to disrupt battlefield formations. For instance, if battlefield infantry are pushing in a group behind a tank, a well-placed cluster strike could down several of them, slowing the push, and even force the tank to back off to avoid damage. While medics can revive the down, that still buys time and expands their attention. Rocket spam and C4 ambushes. Thanks to overkill, many Warzone soldiers can carry anti-vehicle launchers. Expect Warzone squads to assign someone as a makeshift engineer with a launcher. A volley of 5 to 6 rockets at once can overwhelm a tank's active protection system and strike it. Battlefield vehicles can be destroyed by a concerted effort. 2 or 3 hits will disable most tanks, and one well-placed C4 satchel can one-shot if detonated on a tank's rear armor. Warzone operators are crafty with their explosives, using drill charges that burrow through cover and explode. A direct hit from a drill charge could damage a tank's crew or force infantry out of hiding. They might let a tank roll into a city block and then swarm it from alleys with C4 and Molotov cocktails. Battlefield crews will need their engineers and support on high alert to keep their beasts alive under such focused fire. Juggernauts and riot shields. If Warzone deploys Juggernaut suits, those players become a mini-boss on the field. A Juggernaut can absorb an insane amount of small arms fire. Battlefield soldiers would need to hit it with rockets or a tank shell several times to bring it down. Under Juggernaut cover, regular Warzone troops might advance behind, using the Juggernaut as a bullet sponge. Warzone also has riot shields, which some players can equip on their backs and wield frontally. Shields block bullets entirely from the front, forcing Battlefield players to use explosives or flank them. In CQB, a shield user can bait shots while teammates peek out and return fire. These tools could help Warzone squads hold buildings or tight corridors against Battlefield attacks longer than expected. Hit and run vehicles. Warzone's lighter vehicles, while no match for tanks, are faster. Clever teams could use ATVs or helicopters to outmaneuver the slower armor, flanking around to hit rear lines or quickly repositioning. For example, a Warzone fire team might load in a chopper, fly low to the ground, hugging terrain to avoid AA detection, and drop behind the Battlefield tank line. Once there, they could wreak havoc with rocket launchers to the rear or even Commander Battlefield's own stationary weapons. Battlefield side would need to guard against such flanking insertions, typically done with their fighter jets or by keeping an eye on radar, though Ghost perk makes that tricky. Overall, Battlefield's combined arms gives them a macro-level superiority. They control sky and land with powerful assets. Warzone has the edge in micro-level tactics, sneaky deployments, on-demand strikes, and versatility of infantry loadouts. If the Warzone team can coordinate a lot of killstreak usage in a short window, they could punch a hole in the battlefield lines. But sustaining that is difficult without vehicles of their own. On the flip side, if battlefield commanders organize an armor blitz with tank columns supported by helicopters, Warzone will be hard-pressed to stop it head-on. They'd likely resort to dispersing and using every explosive in their kit to pick off vehicles one by one.